So now I'm going to show you how to grade between sizes from a smaller waist to a larger hip. So in this case, from the 20 waist to a 24 hip. So the first thing I'm going to do is on piece number 1, I actually want to mark the 20 line on the back of the pattern piece. It's a bit weird, but here we go. So I've printed the 20 and the 24, and on the back, I just need to mark in the corner. So in this case, you can actually see through the paper really easily, so I just did it over. But you can always like stick a pin through or some other way of like making a marking to make that easy. And we just need a couple of inches at the corner there. Okay, now we need to prepare our pocket pieces. Now, this is a little bit different than before because we need to add some extra paper because of the way this one works. So we are adding them at the outer edge of the piece. We're only going to be needing a little bit of this paper, but you might as well add a little bit more just to give you some wiggle room. These pieces kind of go in slightly different directions. So we're going to add it here. And I am going to add this one here. Okay, now I'm going to take number 6 and number 5 and I'm going to lay them on top of each other as if they were sewn. So they'll be like that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of tape just to temporarily stick them together. You are going to be undoing this later, so you don't want to really, really firmly do it down. So I have a 5 and 6 unit now with extra bits of paper on the side. Now I'm going to take my front leg and my number 7, and again, I'm going to do it as if it was sewn. So actually, it means it's going to be flipped over and underneath here. But this is where it gets a bit confusing. We're going to be aligning the pocket with the size 20, not the 24. So I'm turning it over. I'm aligning the 7 with the size 20. And again, I'm just giving it a few little pieces just to keep it safe. And then now I'm going to take the pieces 5 and 6 and I'm going to put them right sides together on top of the 7 because that's how the pocket is made. And I'm going to line them up, match the notches on the pocket, match up all the pieces. And again, I'm just going to lightly tape them together because they're going to come apart again. So this is as if it was constructed, and we have the extra little bits of paper over here. So now we've got the pieces all lined up. We're going to mark where we need to go between. So it's a little bit confusing, but we'll get it. So at the top corner here, we're going to the 20, and you can tell what that is by the pocket corner here. So it's actually here underneath. Don't get worried about the fact that it looks on the 24 line here. That's sort of just like a coincidence of how it's working right now. But there's the 20 line. And at the top, we're going to do the 20 here. Then at the side, we need to draw a notch at the 24, but at the height of where the pocket changes on the 20. So what that means is there's the corner here, and we're going to go across, and there's actually a notch underneath. You just can't see it right now. And we're going to go across to the 24 and draw a line there. Okay? So now we're going to join these lines up. So make sure everything's still aligned. And there we go. So that is our new side seam. Now we need to do the pocket seam. So for that, we're going to go to the 20 existing pocket because that's what we want to use. And we're going to go over to this 24 hip. So we're going to draw this line. Oops. I'm going to draw this line over here. Now, on this initial one that I did here, I'm actually going to round it out a little because what I'm finding here is that I'm getting too much of a corner when this is the actual side seam. So I'm actually just going to go back in and I'm going to round it out so that it isn't too dramatic. Okay, so what you do, this is how you kind of work a French curve. You kind of just keep on moving it around to see if you can find a curve that works. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to curve that round here to make sure that we don't have too harsh a line. So that's the outer side. On the inside, there are two options on the center front. So the first option is to grade through the crotch. So we start at the 20, we go down through the 20, we go round, stay with the 20, but then we're going to go from the 20 at the bottom of the fly to the 24 at the crotch. So again, we're going to get the French curve out and basically look for like what nice smooth curve can we do here. There we go. We're going to do a nice smooth curve. So that's the first option, but as you can see, it does change the crotch curve. The second option, which in some ways is better, is to use the darts. So in this case, what you do is you stick with the 24 at the center front, but you want to start at the height of the 20. Okay, so you start here and you actually just do the 24 all the way down. So I don't really need to show you this, but just to give you the visual down there. Now, we are going to see how much do we need to take out, because this is a bit wider than we need, right? We only need a 20 at the waist, but this is a 24. So in this case, there's a ½ inch difference. So what that means is we need to make the dart ½ an inch bigger to get rid of that extra room. So what we would do in this case is simply add a ¼ inch either side of the dart, so it's ½ an inch total, and redraw this in here. So we have a bigger dart. Broadly speaking, that is likely to be the sort of slightly more sophisticated option, let's say, of doing it, but it's really up to you. You can do either. So now we are going to move into cutting. So in this case, we're going to use the pink line, right? We're going to do option 2. So we're not going to cut anything in the front. We're going to use that, and we're going to use this dart. We are going to cut across the top to bring it back to the size 20. And as I go across, I'm going to hit the very top of the pocket pieces, but that's okay. Okay, now I am going to cut through all of the layers on this outer side seam line. So this is where I want to make sure that it's a reasonable curve. And you can always finesse this a little bit if you need to. Okay, so this is my new side seam here with the nice curve. What I'm going to do now is take the pieces 5 and 6 off and keep 7 on. So there we go. So these are our new pieces 5 and 6. You can see that we needed this additional little paper here, but what we're going to do now is just even it out. So we'll just cut across the bottom and make that new piece. Take this off here. Okay. So this is my new piece 6. And then again here. So I'm just sort of freehanding it. You can obviously do it properly with a pen. But you just want to take the paper off gently to the side seam. So we have a new piece 5 and a new piece 6 that have this additional seam allowance on them. Now we need to adjust for this pocket angle. So I've still got the number 7 attached here. And now I'm going to cut through the front leg and the number 7, top pocket. And again, so now we have the top leg. It's going from a 20 to a 24. And then I turn it over and I'm going to take this piece off. There we go. And the same thing. This is now a pocket that's going from a 20 to 24. I am going to just cut off this little piece. And again, I think that there was a little bit sticking out beyond there. So let me just check. Oh, no. Okay, it's actually the opposite. So when I did this, I didn't add quite enough paper. So I needed a little bit more paper up there, and then we would have a solid line down there. So you can see everyone makes mistakes sometimes, including me. So in this one, I could have done with putting paper down the entire side of it. But even now, I can certainly address that. Hold on. I'm going to get a scrap. I'm going to put it here. I very rarely get things right first time. So if you don't either, certainly don't feel bad about that. So I'm just going to put it underneath here again. I'm going to line up the edge that I already did. There we go. I'm going to redraw this line at the edge. Oops. Take it off, and there you can see that little sliver that I missed the first time. There we go. Okay, so that is the front already. It now goes from a 20 waist to a 24 hip. So now we're going to grade the back leg, and the good news is it's a lot easier. So I'm going to start by marking the waistband at the 20 at the top, and then I'm going to mark the 24, but here's a little bit confusing. I'm going to mark the 24 at the height of the 20 notch. So here's the 20 notch, here's the 24, so I'm going to mark it here. And then I'm going to go across the piece, and I'm going to mark the 24 here. So it's the kind of simple grading between sizes on this one. I'm simply going to take my French curve, and I'm going to join up the 20 to the 24 there. And I'm going to grade through the crotch here. So we're going to go, hold on, it's more of a straight line. We're going to go from the 20 to the 24, and then simply carrying all the way around on the 24. So let me just show you. So just sticking with the 24 here. There. So that is option 1. Option 2, again, you have two different things that you can do, but you can also change the darts. So in this case, for the crotch curve at the back, you would start at the 24 and just go all the way around the 24. So you haven't changed the back crotch curve at all, like that. You would do the same on the outer point here. However, what we need to do again is there's additional room here now that we don't need because we want a 20 waist, we don't want a 24 waist. So we measure this, and in this case, it's 1/2 inch. So we want to take 1/2 inch out of the dart. So to do that, we want to make the dart 1/2 inch bigger so that it's pulling in by 1/2 inch. So I'm going to add 1/4 inch either side of the dart like that. And I'm going to pull it to the same dart point, like so. So once you've done that, you can then trim your pieces. So I'm going to trim the outside here, and I'm going to assume that we did the dart method. So I'm going to go across the 20. I'm going to go straight across the top here. Hold on. You actually have a new dart uptake. So we want to go to the new dart legs and across the top, and the back crotch curve is going to be exactly the same. Now, the one thing here is that you have affected a little bit this welt marking. So what I recommend here, because it's a difficult thing to do yourself to get this angle right, mark on with, a temporary marker the existing welt as it is here. But once you've sewn this piece up, you are likely going to need to true it up again. So you're going to sew it up, and then you're going to be like, this doesn't look quite right now. So what you then will do is on your pattern piece, you will remark the box, and you'll make sure that it's the same exact size and shape as the welt marking on the welt piece. So effectively what this dart has done is it's shortened the welt marking a little bit, and we don't want that. So you're going to re-lengthen it after you have sewn this pattern piece. So that is grading between sizes on the Meriam.